Hello, it's Muggen Mylle back at it again. If you're a subscriber of mine, you'd know that I usually talk about stuff pertaining to the LGBTQ+, and today is no different. Yeah, if you really squint your eyes, you'd see how it relates, because Plagued Moth, the subject of this video, is gender fluid and uses he/they pronouns as far as I know, which is close enough. I don't know what more you could ask of me.
How many genders are there?
I don't know, I just got here.
Sarcasm aside,
We do a little trolling, it's called We Do a Little Trolling.
we're not here to discuss his gender identity, though accusations of transphobia might be brought up, and as the arbiter of anything trans-related, I'll make the final judgment. But that's not why I'm making this video.
To the legal in Canada. Just saying.
Before I continue, if you're sensitive to descriptions of violence, gore, and murder, I'd suggest you'd sit this one out, though I will try to make it as brief and safe as possible. Oh, now don't get your hopes up, this isn't about a YouTuber gone serial killer.
I'm the Joker, baby!
But Plagued Moth is rather an individual that covers quite dark stuff and will put all the makeup true crime girlies to shame. If you're morbidly curious, like myself, you might have stumbled upon similar channels. They're kind of true crime channels, but for men, and they talk about horrific stuff, a lot of the time featuring blood and gore.
Is this allowed? What the fuck? Is that allowed?
Someone notable who is somewhat aligned with this community is Wendigoon, who I take no issue with at all. Please, Wendigoons, leave me alone.
Why am I still getting hate?
Judging by the videos I have watched by him, he's very respectful, and his approach to darker and more morbid topics doesn't come off as cynical and disrespectful. Although this isn't a perfect example, I figured it's someone a lot of you might recognize, and he's even collabed with Plagued Moth on a video before, back in 2021. Shit, that was a long time ago. Although there's some critique I have of horror/true crime YouTubers in general, it's not really a pressing issue to me. Otherwise, we could be here picking apart every YouTuber in existence. What sets Plagued Moth apart from a lot of other horror/true crime/gore YouTubers? Why is gore even a genre? Anyways, is that he shows way more than necessary in a way that comes off as more exploitative rather than informative when covering topics such as real murders, car crashes, mass shootings, executions, and just death in general. You need to be more mindful of the victims and their families and anyone who's just been affected by anything similar. Yet, I personally like to give people more leeway because there's no strict guidelines to follow that ensures no one is offended. Also, we can't all be neurotypical. Something you find completely acceptable, another might find super inappropriate. My best advice would be to talk about it the same way you'd want others to talk about your loved ones if they were the victim in question. No matter where you stand on the issue of exploiting real tragedies for the sake of entertainment, there's a line to be drawn, and it starts about an inch before you take a leaf out of Jinx's book and react to actual footage of someone's murder. I think that's a bit of an overkill, no pun intended.
That's my opinion!
Plagued Moth has done reactions to real cartel executions and ISIS massacres, etc. In one of the more stomach-turning reactions, they watched the video known as One Girl 99 Stomps of a 15-year-old getting mugged and brutally stomped to death by a drug addict, which was caught on CCTV. You're free to watch the video for yourself if you can handle it. Even though the actual video is blurred, it's still horrifying. Like, what the f***? What happened to human decency, actually. Without literally just repeating what he said word for word, I would describe it as a very forced attempt to be humorous with statements such as, oh, fuck, this is way higher quality too. Damn, she's dead, bro. What are you doing? Holy shit, are you done? Holy shit, oh my god, he's still doing it. This guy is still going. Can you imagine if someone came out of the elevator and after the first watch, Moth goes on to say,
"That was messed up, and I'm going to do something more messed up. I'm going to count how many stomps actually happened because I'm curious. You can judge me all you want, you. Kindly don't care at this point. But if you're nice about it, that's when I care."
I would find it more excusable if it was just a passing comment and they actually provided more insight with their reaction. But that's not the case though. You could cut the video down to the snippet of background information provided at the very beginning and nothing of value would have been lost. Save everyone's time and make TikToks instead. Thank you.
No, I don't think so.
You've probably heard many YouTubers rant about this before. Reaction content requires very little brain power and it's an easy way to drag out a video and increase watch time.
Yourself.
That in and of itself is not a crime. We're YouTubers, we're just trying to make a living. But when the video in question displays a person's death, it's horrifyingly exploitative.
That's my opinion!
The least you could do is put some effort into writing a script, have the decency to pretend you actually give two fucks. Now, I'm not against the idea of morbid curiosity. I believe it to be a completely natural instinct and there's nothing to gain by demonizing it. It doesn't make you a bad person because you want to learn about serial killers, massacres, executions, etc. It just means you're human. What I advocate for is being mindful while interacting with this kind of content though. In all honesty, I don't know what the consumption of gore videos and images does to a person. I'd imagine it's not healthy, but there's always gonna be fucked up individuals going out of their way to look it up, post it, and there's not much I can do about that. It's all just a Google search away. But all I would really ask is for it to be confined to its own little corner of the internet where all the edgelords lurk, but unfortunately it's bleeding onto other platforms. When you're bringing it over to YouTube, you're potentially exposing it to a much wider audience, which comes with a lot of responsibility. On top of that, if you make a living off of this kind of content, it's quite morally questionable to monetize footage of actual murder. You can sit here all day and saying that I'm taking the moral high ground all you want, but that's just where I draw the line. That's where most normal people draw the line. It's just like pissing on some innocent person's grave. It doesn't matter that they're dead, so it's not gonna affect them. It's just about human decency.
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism.
Like I previously stated, the actual gore videos are blurred during the acts and you can barely even make out each person. But if you became a member of his Patreon back in the day, you could gain access to the uncensored versions. Whatever the case, I personally find it morally reprehensible to put uncensored gore videos behind a paywall. Whether you can find it with a quick Google search or not, doesn't matter. Like, it's just like, you shouldn't monetize this type of thing. Like, I don't know, be a drama commentator like the rest of us. It's going great for me. Please subscribe. Even though this is something he stopped doing about a year ago, it's not because he came to his senses and particularly regret doing it in the first place. I mean, for all we know, he would still be doing it if it wasn't for the fact that he went against Patreon's terms of service. You might argue, this is in the past, we all learn and grow, which is true, it's true. I think Very few people are beyond redemption, but you can't be redeemed when your current videos honestly aren't that much better. In late February of 2023 this year, he uploaded a video titled The Trafficking of 𝒔𝒐𝒎💆💏, the shocking glorification of Just a disclaimer, for the sake of this video, we don't know for sure that Eugenia has an ED, and anything I go on to say should be considered merely speculative. If you're new to this channel, you might not know this, but I previously talked about my own experience with ED. I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa at the age of 10 to 12. This was back in the day when there weren't nearly as much awareness about EDs as there is today. We didn't have no ED Twitter, it was just you and your disordered brain against everyone else. Still, I'm glad I was so young and had the time to recover, because I can't imagine dealing with it in today's society. That's a buzzword. Society. We live in a society.
I'm the Joker, baby!
It's no longer as secretive, and outsiders are fascinated by a disorder that just doesn't make any sense. Like, we have channels dedicated to Eugenia and they're all like, oh, we must stop her, but also they're f***ing spreading her image. It wasn't too long ago that everyone and their mother were making videos on Eugenia Cooney speculating about whether she's purposely catering to fascists, and maybe even is being paid for it behind the scene. Although most people acknowledge her alleged sickness, all too often do I see them assign malice to her actions. You can't say you support people with EDs and then demonize someone for, let me check my notes, showing symptoms of f***ing ED.
Eugenia Cooney clearly suffers from some form of or disorders, and arguably her content exploits this and even promotes it to vulnerable individuals who view her content.
I sympathize with those triggered by Eugenia's body, but I think it's insane to blame Eugenia or anyone around her for it like she's a grown adult, often citing her refusal to admit anything is wrong at all and insisting she's healthy. People just can't seem to wrap their head around why she would deny something so obvious. But as someone who's been there, I can say it's completely normal for someone with a severe ED, and it's not necessarily a sign of something more sinister. In fact, I was doing the very same thing when I was at my sickest. It probably just means that she's not at a point where she's ready to recover. You can't force someone to recover if they don't want to, especially as strangers on the internet. There's unfortunately very little we can actually do to help. My best advice would probably be to take a step back, not sensationalize her situation, and theorize that she's being trafficked. Like, yeah, her mother might very well be controlling, but as I see it, she's just a mother taking care of her sick daughter, because EDs turn you into a very, very lonely person. So her family is probably the only real life people she has left in her life. Though a lot more could be said about Eugenia Cooney. That's not what this video is about, so I'll leave it at that. Let's get right into the news, into the situation that brought this to my attention and made me want to talk about it.
I'm fast as boy.
Honestly, if I saw that damn thing in my living room, I'd stomp on it until it was a small brown stain.
28th of February 2023, Plagued Moth uploaded a video titled, "My Patreon was removed and they're still charging people. The dark side of Patreon."
Well, it started last week with a missed email about me verifying my identity. So basically, there are new policies on sexual content on Patreon, and if you're an 18+ content creator like me, you have to re-verify your ID with your ID and selfie and all that, kind of like OnlyFans does. So I didn't notice this email, and my account was hidden, and I was told that no, I couldn't get new patrons or anything like that until that's fixed, so no problem. So I have to wait over the weekend, and that's kind of a pain in the ass.
Then I get this email stating that my page has been suspended for violating the graphic violence guidelines. And they cited specifically that I was selling gore offline or on the Patreon. And does that complaint sound familiar to you? If it doesn't, it will soon. This is a common thing that people do to sling mud and try to virtue signal despite not signing up for my Patreon and knowing, you know, I don't have uncensored gore anywhere.
Okay, let's read the email once again. Patreon looks to create a safe environment for all our users and does not allow content that is graphic, gratuitous, is that how it's pronounced? Look, this is why no one f***ing likes sadistic or glorifies real-world suffering. I wonder what made them think that his content glorifies real-world suffering. Let me just rewatch One Girl 99 Stomps, counting with Plagued Moth. Additionally, content that depicts violent or graphic imagery, such as animal abuse, decapitation, gore, and violent death will not be permitted. Because you are sharing this type of content on external platforms, your creator page will be removed. By external platforms, I wonder if they meant his YouTube channel or the alleged murder channel on his Discord. I'll get to that. Throughout the video, he argues that he doesn't post uncensored gore anywhere, but as we saw in the emails, it had nothing to do whether it was censored or not, but rather the context. I checked out their blog where they elaborate on instances where this would be acceptable, stating, "We also recognize that depictions of this content can be necessary in certain non-gratuitous..." I f***ing hate language globalization, f*** off, contexts. News, academia, documentary, science/medicine, true crime content, etc. and could carve out exceptions for such cases. Pardon me, this is just what I think, but wouldn't it be a stretch to label his reaction videos as educational? Cause there's something so needlessly cruel about it. They're not like the TCC makeup girlies who explain everything like, then he got stabbed and the serial killer went to jail. This is like showing it's cruel, period. Period. As mentioned before, this isn't the first time that Moth has run into trouble running a Patreon. Did I mention that before? I don't know, and I don't care, really. The first time his page was removed, it was due to a tier perk, including uncensored videos, but as they explained in their video, they worked that out.
Now you see, this doesn't make sense, because my Patreon page was removed a long time ago, my very first one, and I worked with the Patreon team directly to basically polish it up and get it up to terms of service, so I know that wasn't actually the case.
The Patreon team shouldn't have any issue if they were literally involved in the process, at least at the time, but it's not certain those adjustments are still sufficient after the end of the year update that prompted Moth's email exchange with Patreon. He also goes on to bring up accusations of Patreon harboring and monetizing C, allegedly, which I'm not gonna comment on because I haven't read up on it, so I'm not qualified. Figured I should mention it though, because I don't want anyone to be like, why are you withholding the information that Patreon are p***ile defenders? They continued by theorizing as to why they specifically were affected by terms of service when there's seemingly other creators within the same genre doing just fine.
I did bring up over 5 different Patreon pages that do similar content to mine, and I did point out that I'm one of the only queer creators.
I mean, yeah, you make an excellent point actually. It could be because you're queer, or it could be because the other creators aren't making videos counting as a man stomps a 15-year-old girl to death. Or maybe they are. I don't know. I'm not on this side of YouTube.
Electric chair.
One of his main suspects was none other than Kiwi Farms, who could have theoretically initiated a mass reporting campaign, which isn't all that far-fetched because they're known for targeting queer people, especially transgender individuals. Though as it turns out, this wasn't the case, as someone comes forward not long after the video was posted. Enter that creepy reading, who I will be referring to as TCR. Another YouTuber within the horror genre. Horror. The very same day after the news broke, he tweeted, "YouTuber at Plagued Moth is lying in his most recent video. I alone reported his account with these screenshots I took from his Patreon server. I paid $5 and with 0 age verification, I got access to these videos. He has minors in his server who can get access to this content. 0 age verification required as long as you have $5. This is not a troll attack. This was me doing what I feel is right to keep our community safe. This is not about gender. I was horrified after being autoplayed into one girl 99 stomps, counting with Plagued Moth. I heard rumors and then verified them to be true. Uncensored human death is not a product. You cannot sell it, and any who does really should not have a platform to do it. Don't give Pyro a platform to defend himself." Sorry, I got a little too into character. Though I generally would agree with TCR. I think the way he approached this topic kinda delegitimizes actual valid concerns, and even if the uncensored gore wasn't as recent as he claims, there's still enough grievances to be had, mate. Like, what the
Which is illegal in Canada. Just saying.
As stated in his original tweet, he pledged to Plagued Moth's Patreon and verified with screenshots showing that he did so back in November and December of 2022. Now, this is where there's conflicting stories. TCR insists that he was granted access to a room where uncensored gore links were posted without being age verified. If you're gonna accuse someone, you better have the receipts, which should have been easy for TCR since he even went through the trouble of paying Moth to access their Discord. The so-called proof of uncensored gore was 2 screenshots of scribbled out links. Even if we're to be as charitable as physically possible and say that they actually do lead to gore videos, we just can't look past the fact that these are the only screenshots where the date is cropped out. We already know it used to be a perk back in 2021. No one is denying that. So we would need more than a cropped screenshot as proof that it was as recent as TCR claims. Plagued Moth debunked the existence of an uncensored gore chat by showing all of his Discord on stream.
Alright, so we're going to go through here. Here's the important, where we have announcements in the Q&A, video suggestions. This was experimental. It was going to be a public thing, like a trial thing for the server. Here's general chat in those windows. Let's see if we can expand that. Nope, that's all there is. Anybody can access these as long as you're in the server. Here's media and stuff, which strict rules against gore and profane content, anything that's not GA, basically, general audiences. Fan art, which I definitely should show off more. People are making dope shit in here. 𝒙𝒊𝒌𝒆 food memes, moth-related memes. We got the book corner, and even the true crime, you're not allowed to link anything. You're not even allowed to link gore on my server. Movies and stuff, discussions. Now let's go all the way down here. Here's the abyss. This is all the spooky shit. This is just not like conspiracies, occult stuff, cursed images, and video discussion. Voice channels, which are all, yeah, probably a red room. That's probably real, we got that Pokemon game. Nobody really plays a bunch anymore. And here's 18+. So we'll go into gore talk because there's no gore. There's no images allowed. In fact, like, you can't, like, most people can't post images in general at all. Now, there are adult things, like the adult promotion exhibition of which is for people who have access to legal cannabis and stuff, and like they discuss that kind of stuff. But all of these cannot be accessed unless you, like I said, are active for a month and verify the way I said with a picture of your face, your Discord like this, and your ID. You're only allowed to blur out your address that would dox you and shit. If not, you don't get access. So, what do you think?
TCR claims that the chat was deleted, which could be proven by going through the audit logs, which they didn't. I don't know, make of that what you will. Some of you might be sitting here thinking, who cares about the dates? It's still that he did it at one point, which I would agree with you, like we're on the same page. But unfortunately, TCR only further damaged the opposing side's credibility once he made the very serious claim that Moth was in possession of 𝒙𝒐𝒎𝒎𝒆's destruction. He retracted his statement and apologized. For those of you who are lucky enough to have never learned about 𝒙𝒐𝒎𝒆's destruction, it's basically the most hardcore CSAM known to man. It depicts the torture of a 1.5-year-old girl. I googled 𝒙𝒐𝒎𝒆's destruction, and that's about the extent of my knowledge and research, because I can feel the FBI man in my camera side-eyeing me right now. I'm too young to go to prison. I've only gone through one puberty. Let me get on the HRT first. FBI, open up! Please let me get on fucking HRT. I'm dying over here. I'm dying. Just know that it's really, really bad. Just know that TCR basically accused Moth of having watched/had access to the worst kind of CP. Anyone who's watched it is going to triple hell, and you better be triple sure before you make a potentially life-ruining accusation like that. Rational people didn't take his word for it, of course. But still, this is some serious stuff, and you just can't throw it around like that. No one is ever gonna believe you. This is like the boy who cried wolf. This is the boy who cried 𝒙𝒐𝒎𝒆's destruction. I don't know whether this claim was made maliciously or not. I don't think so. And honestly, I don't know if that's worse. I don't know if knowing that you're just this stupid makes it worse. And to fumble this hard will make people question the validity of your other concerns too. I'm sorry, I got a little bit aggressive. No hate to you, man. Just what the f***. In his stream, where he intended to clear things up, he showed the mail he sent Patreon reading. I want to share some information which leads me to believe that the user Plagued Moth is circumventing your rules and using this platform to sell gore. This gore comes in the form of uncensored videos of Plagued Moth reacting to cartel executions, suicides, murders, and workplace accidents. After doing some investigation, I found that while he requires photo ID verification to get access to his Patreons in real life news channel, no such photo ID verification is required to see this gore. Quick note here, they have a few sex workers in their community who can promote themselves in the news channel. This isn't that uncommon, at least not in more progressive and sex-positive circles. I just wanted to clarify so that no one jumps to some sex cult accusations. Sex work is real work, and unless someone comes forth with an experience of having felt pressured, I don't think it's such a big deal. To make a long story short, he is using this platform as a gate into his Patreon. Donating $5 gives you access to dehumanizing violent acts against other humans. I know this platform does not allow links to gore or this content, as he has been warned about this before. All he did was walk it back a step. The two first screenshots show that there are minors in the server, while the third is a screenshotted list of videos I got access to by paying $5 through Patreon. If you manually type in the links, the content there is graphic. The last screenshot just shows that the gore and extra mixtape content is a part of the Patreon goodies. If a minor uses this site and pays $5, this is the content they get access to. Please do the right thing. Now, personally, I don't think it matters much whether he recently linked uncensored videos for Patreons to see. The only reason it would matter is if Moth's Patreon was taken down due to false allegations.
That's my opinion!
despite not getting his facts straight, I can see where TCR is coming from. I'm sorry, I just can't get over the gore. Yet, I'm torn, because at the end of the day, he's messing with someone's source of income, and the world is fucked as it is. I strongly believe that everyone deserves to have their basic needs met, no matter what. Period up! As this situation wasn't already fucked up as it is, guess what? Not only does Plagued Moth have 5 children to provide for, but one of them is a type 1 diabetic. According to who I can only assume to be the wife, they're uninsured too, which means that they're paying for medication out of pocket. You already know that I'm a Swedish with high cost protection, but these poor bastards are f***ing American. Do you know how much insulin costs? I'm not sure either, but it's a lot. I'm neither American nor diabetic, so I might be completely wrong, but according to my trustworthy friend, Google.com, without health insurance, diabetes medications costs anything from $200 to $500 or more per month. That's insane. I f***ing hate capitalism. Apparently, just staying alive is a commodity. What the f***? What's next? Are you gonna charge each breath we take? I mean, you might as well at this point. And on top of all of this they also bickered quite a bit on Twitter. I could go over everything they said, but I'm not going to because it would be too confusing since there's so many conversations going on at once. Instead, there's some interactions I'd like to highlight. Now, TCR has his location enabled so everyone can see what city he's in. Honestly, I'm not quite sure why you would do that. Anyways, in response to one of his tweets, Moth said, "Stay safe. Pontiac is a dangerous city, bro." Under different circumstances, you'd think, "Aw, that's so sweet. They're worried for his safety. No threatening implications at all." But read the room. Read the room. If someone you've been beefing with all day suddenly makes a vague tweet concerning your safety, that's a veiled threat, bro. This prompted TCR to make a report to his local PD, which is like a completely normal thing to do when you're an American/Canadian public figure who wants to prevent any attempt at swatting. However, Moth accused him of calling a bunch of different police stations, specifically to a county in Michigan where they have family, quote-unquote, harassing them. He, of course, denies this, stating, "I never reached out to his family. I reported this to my local PD just in case someone wanted to swat me. I also reported the same stuff I sent to Patreon to the Macomb County FBI department. Never reached out to his family. I don't want anything to do with his family." That's just a brief summary of their Twitter beef. I really can't find a good way to wrap things up, cause nothing was ever really resolved, which is whatever. We can't get along with everyone, I guess. We can't all be friends. I chose to make a video on this because, well, I had no idea about the gore reaction videos to begin with. I would have probably talked about it a lot sooner if I did. What I want you to bring away from this video is that if you're gonna make accusations, you should stick to the facts. Stay away from theories and rumors, but most importantly, save whatever evidence you can. It would be one thing if you just happened to be in the Discord and then later decided to speak up, so you just have to salvage whatever evidence there is. But it's a whole nother story when you join the Discord for the explicit purpose of exposing something. As much as I hate to admit it, the only reason he wouldn't have solid proof that I can think of is if it didn't happen in the first place. I mean, I want to be on his side because there's valid criticism of Moth's past, but I can't. Like, I would look like a total f***ing doofus if I tried to defend this. Even if the alleged gore channel existed back in December of 2022, the lack of evidence completely overshadows anything else, and no one is gonna listen to what you have to say. You've automatically lost. Now, if any Plagued Moth fans happens to watch this, Hi, I hope I didn't come off as too big of a p***. All I wanted to say is that this isn't a condemnation of you. I don't think you're problematic and should get hashtag cancelled for any of this. Morbid curiosity is completely natural and doesn't reflect your morals. Though I worry for you, like genuinely, what the f***? Because it really can't be good for you to watch the gruesome death of real people. Like, we weren't meant to access footage of tragedies from all around the world at any moment. And then again, we weren't meant to be bombarded by impossible beauty standards we can never live up to at all hours of the day. We weren't meant to work office jobs from 9 to 5. What I'm trying to say is that this generation and those to come are completely f***ed. We're f***ed. We're doomed. We're gonna be depressed forever. We're gonna have to deal with climate change, everything. I'm so tired. That being said, I don't hate Plagued Moth as a person either. I don't agree with a lot of their content, though I'm sure some of you might not agree with me either. Some of you might think I'm a whiny little bitch. I can't force anyone to agree with me, but I hope he could at the very least take my criticism to heart and like think about, I don't know, respect for a human life. Moth probably won't see this video to begin with, but like still, I'm just saying. I also wish him the best with his family, finances and therapy, like genuinely. Life sucks as it is, and I just think we need to be kinder to each other. Say I, the dude with the channel dedicated to being a little hater online.
What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
Thank you for watching this video. Remember to like, subscribe and turn on notifications. Feel free to share your thoughts on this topic in the comments. I'd love to know. Even though I might not always respond, I read pretty much all of it, and whenever I have the energy, I go on a responding spree. Also, do you guys have any horror movie recommendations? I recently watched Hereditary. It's really difficult to find something that stands out, and it's almost like you're just watching the same video on repeat, but whatever. Anyways, all the links to my social medias are in the description. If you want a profile picture drawn by yours truly, you'll find my commission sheet in my pinned tweet. I've been thinking of raising the price a bit since I usually spend quite some time on each drawing. Usually the speed paints you watch are commissions, and I personally think they're of good quality, so I don't know, get them cheap while you can. That's all, take care, bye!